So welcome back, and of course this is still Pan-African Morning News right here on Galaxy Universal Network. And of course this morning I'm so excited with the guest that we're having right here on the green couch. Her name is Mel Madiba, and she is a visual artist, but she's specializing in pyrography. You know, I'm actually looking here on my phone and I'm thinking, I'm trying to find out what is pyrography. And when Mel came in the studio and she brought in this beautiful, I don't even want to call it a painting. This is, what do you call this? Art.
It's
exactly,
art, yeah.
Sisanda. This is art. Because like when she came in, I thought, okay, she's one of those artists that's going to paint and draw and everything. But I'm like, no, Mel, good morning. How do you do it? What is this? Who are you and what is this pyrography?
Good morning, Vanessa.
Too many questions.
Too many questions. What do I answer?
Mel, who are you? Where are you from? What is this?
Okay, well,
Do it. When did you start? What time was it?
okay, well, good morning. I'm
Morning.
Mel Madiba. So I am a pyrography artist. I discovered this art in 2014.
Okay.
And so I was just on Facebook normally like every other person was in that time. And I saw somebody doing art and I saw the word pyrography and I'm like, oh, what is that? So I just go on Google and I saw a video of that person. Her name was Faye Helfer. And she wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, but she used a small little pen and she just burned a little bit. And I was like, pyrography, that sounds interesting. So I got a little bit of money and I saved and I just bought a pyrography set. At the time it was 500 Rand. And I bought some wood and then I taught myself how to do it because I was already an artist, you know.
Oh, yeah,
I was already
awesome.
doing art and I was already drawing. I started drawing like as every other child on my mother's walls and she was upset, you know. But then she thankfully cultivated me to doing art classes in primary school every now and then, you know. But when I was in 2014, when I was in my first and second year of varsity, I discovered this work, this art. So I already liked wood, and at the time I was studying interior design. So I noticed that I always liked, you know, to say wooden floors, wooden table, and then I just realized that I actually really love wood. So I taught myself how to do pyrography, which is drawing with a soldering iron, and yeah, it's been. The rest is history.
Oh, wow. And what is a soldering iron for somebody who doesn't understand?
So
what
a
you're
soldering
talking about?
iron is a mechanism that you plug in whether with batteries or electricity.
Oh, you've got
yes,
it
I've
there?
got it here.
Let's have a look, yeah.
Yeah, so I basically plug this in and then it gets very, very hot. It gets very hot. And that's how I create all the markings. So everywhere that you see that it's dark, I pressed longer. Sort of like a, you know, a pencil. If you press a pencil very hard, it will be darker, and if you lightly shade, then it will be a lighter shade. So this is all very burnt markings with a soldering iron, and my soldering iron is this one here, and it comes with other different tips and, you know, things that you can use that create different types of markings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you know, I'm
Yes.
actually very inspired. Hence, I'm like so excited and I want to know all about you. I want to know all about your art, you
Yes.
know. But then now looking at this for me, it looks very expensive. Like it's very beautiful and all. What are the cost of these? Like, how much would you charge for such a?
For this one, I charge for this size, I charge 7,000 Rand. So I have been on my journey of art and so on, and I always used to just charge not too much because you don't want to be too much. But then I realized that I'm not making any profit.
Of course.
So you know, because the art, the wood itself is also very expensive, and then my machine, I also use electricity, and when we have load shedding, then I can't work, you know, then I have to catch up. So it does take about, my cheapest one is A4, like a size page, which is 1,000 Rand. Yeah, so there's something for everybody, and I have been very fortunate to create amazing pieces for you know, a lot of people. that have commissioned me to create stuff for their loved ones, of their kids. I've drawn some babies and so on. So, and I think that art is definitely an investment. Because maybe one day I'm going to make it, and then you won't be able to.
Already.
Exactly.
Well, when is one day?
Wow.
The way I see it, like you just said now that
amazing.
you've created art pieces, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I think you are making it already. You can only go up.
Going up from here, definitely. I was also very fortunate enough to be part of an initiative. They're called the Blessing Gobeni Art Prize. So I was the Blessing Gobeni Art Prize winner last year, and I had my very first solo exhibition where I created this, and I sold out half of my collection. So, yeah, only up from here, definitely.
That's really great. So now tell us how it is like to be a young woman in the art industry. With this industry, it's one of those, the names are the most important things. I mean, you can go to an arts gallery, you find 20 different arts and some work that is really, really, fine arts. But when you look at the name at the bottom, it's what now the name is what sells. Who draws that. So you're a young woman, you're upcoming in this industry. How is that of a challenge to you, and how are you planning to push your name into the highest heights that you could?
Okay, so as a young female artist, primarily I've also been creating art of women as well. So I've always really been passionate about women and everything that we go through as people. Just as I was coming here, on the radio, people talking about menstruation, and it's just, everything that we do is very important as women, and I feel like we don't get enough credit.
No, that's
no
true.
matter which industry you are in. Even just as musicians, people, Beyonce is doing the most work, but people will always criticize. So as a woman, as a female artist, especially as something that is not really respected yet, it has been obviously very difficult, but I think that the world is definitely changing and people are becoming more receptive to women taking up space as our Miss Universe said.
Okay,
Yes.
but then Mel, I also know that you also did an art piece for Beyonce's sister,
Solange. Yes.
Yes. Did she get to see it? Did you ever, manage to get it to her? And what was?
So
what
I didn't.
came out of that?
I don't. So I created 2 pieces of Solange, Beyonce's sister, and the one I don't think she saw, but the second one apparently she saw at Afropunk. I managed to get it to her, even though I wasn't physically there. But the people who showed it to her, and apparently her manager said that it was beautiful. But unfortunately, it was New Year's, PT, and people. I couldn't get there myself, and so I don't know what happened to that. Hopefully one day she will find me again, and and
but did you manage to at least put your signature?
I did.
To say, hey,
I
Mel,
put my signature.
South Africa.
I put my signature on all my pieces. Yes, even the commissioned ones. I have to make sure that people know that it's my work. However, I'm also grateful to have a very definite style, so nobody can really copy me. So even if I don't sign it, you'll see that it's.
I was about to come to along those lines to just try and figure out and what makes your art different from other arts. When you're looking at it, you would say, no, this is Mel that has done this. The likes of your Von, that okay, this one. So how do I identify your art?
So with my art, you'll obviously see that it is pyrography. I think it is the style that I create. I often have, it's just a portrait of the person's face or a woman's face most likely, or it's somebody else, and with a very, very elaborate background like this one here. So in the past, before I created this series of work, I used to draw other women, and they were women with very different expressions on their faces. There's one smoking a cigarette, there was one who was like, looking very quirky and whatnot. So I I personally I always felt like people didn't take me seriously because I'm so small and petite and cute and
I was
whatever.
going to ask, well, how old are you? Because you even said you finished school at 20 or 2014. That's when you started this. I'm like, but you look so young.
Yeah, I
Where
look
were you
so
in
young.
2014?
I'm almost 27 in a few weeks.
Okay.
So I wasn't I felt like I was not being taken seriously. So I created this series of other women where I drew different emotions and, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I drew someone like I can also be tough and I can also be sexy and I can also be smart and a dreamer and so on. And then in my next series, I did all of the pictures. It was just self-portraits. So it was just me all in different ways. So the first one, I was myself through other people. And the second one, I was completely myself. So next, we'll see what I do.
Yeah, most of artists, they specialize in something. Like, for an example, Rasta, he specializes in portraits of the past people. Ngikhuluma ngecolleague yakho uRasta, i-artist.
Yeah, everybody specializes in something. I
Asiqale
specialize.
kuRasta kuqala.
What do you think of
Rasta's a
Rasta's
great
art pieces?
Rasta's.
Paintings.
I really admire Rasta's work. I admire the way he has taken up space in the industry, definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now let's move out of Rasta. I needed to know as well that what is it that you specializes in? Maybe of course, maybe I'm not speaking artistically. Maybe I may not be able to ask the question the way that I really want to ask, but I'm just going to make an example to say some people, they specializes in maybe a nude portrait, which represent nature. It doesn't necessarily have to be like blunt nude, but they, want to appreciate the human body, for an example. And then other people, they want to specialize in specific thing. Maybe there's this other painting that I'm a very big fan of painting as well. They specialize in like the type of eyes, whatever that they draw, their focus is in the eyes. So what is it that you mostly want to focus on when you're doing your paintings?
Okay, so with all my artwork, primarily I draw women. I draw women in different stages of their lives, in different emotions. So that has definitely been my focus. I have drawn men, not many, but that my focus is definitely the human experience, but in the lens of a woman. I mainly do portraits. So I think going forward, I have been thinking about going in an abstract way, creating abstract art, like perhaps just doing patterns. But I think essentially they will always be inspired by women because I am a woman and it's my art, so it is feminist art and it is art that is inspired by women, definitely.
You used to be on TV before, Manje. What happened?
I think I have a lot of talents.
Yeah. Are you wanting to still pursue that though?
I wouldn't mind. I do have a YouTube channel where I think I get to express my personality and my TV skills and my editing. I'm into a lot of things, so I think definitely on my YouTube channel I show people my art, I show people my life and the things that I experience. I also attend other art galleries and other art exhibitions where I interview the artist and I'll find out what they did and how they did it and so on. So I definitely wouldn't mind getting back into TV, but for now I am
on
just
TV
doing
right now.
Yes, I would
now,
definitely love to
Okay. Now I want to find out, as an artist, I know a lot of artists are complaining, struggling financially and all. Do you have any experiences or maybe financial challenges with the kind of work that you do, especially now that you just came back from, COVID-19 and lockdowns? And how has business been, since COVID-19?
Since COVID-19, I have been very, very, very fortunate because I'm actually studying again. So I haven't been doing too much work. However, I have been creating commissions for people. I think I was just blessed or lucky or whatever, but I have not necessarily felt so much of a strain because I've got my fingers in a lot of pots. So I did get I have a new commission that I'm still busy with for a client, and I'm part of virtual exhibitions as well. So there are virtual auctions and people are buying work and so on. So I've been very fortunate and not felt it. However, in the past, you know, it was not easy. So I definitely know the struggles of artists. But I think I've also been a bit not scared, but cautious, because now I've been thinking, oh, now, you know, people don't want to come and touch work. I'm creating physical work. So how do I need to digitize my work? How can I digitize my work? And how can I sell my work in a digital way? Or should I just stick to being physical and think that, you know, or believe that the world will come full circle? Even though everything is digital, people will want something that is physical, that is tangible, that they can hold on to. So I've just been having that debate, but I think it's good to have a healthy balance.
Of course.
Yeah, everybody have their own inspirations, of course, people that you're looking up to. You mentioned that you started doing this at a very, very young age, and now you're actually inspiring me that I should stop beating my boys up when they're busy drawing things on board. But that one is obviously a makokoroshe. It's obvious kokoroshe, this one, it's no art. But mostly when you're doing your art, who are you referencing? That's one. And then two, I would like to know, who inspires you, you know, to be best every day?
You know, I mean, there are obviously artists that I look up to and I like Zanele Muholi and Lina Iris Victor. I really love Lina Iris Victor because she does self-portraits. She uses 3 colors only: black, blue, maybe some white, and, you know, gold. So I think I really admire the way that she does self-portraits and she does different work in such a limited palette. So I think that's very beautiful. But for me to be inspired, I'm honestly really inspired by people around me, by nature, by experiences. And I'm very inspired by people who are authentically themselves, and I think that is what I want to do. I just want to inspire people to be themselves, because I am myself, and it's not something that is easy to do.
No, for sure.
From a young age, from, you know, watching Lion King, all the movies that we watch, they're like, be yourself, find your power. But it's not something that is very, very easy to do.
Yes.
So I really admire people who are unapologetically themselves, and I want to inspire people to do so by being so. So when you look at people, even like the outlandish people like Cardi B, or you know, she doesn't care, and she's just being herself, and I think that is what makes her so amazing.
So who would you like maybe to put next on one of your portraits? Like who, like when you look at yourself, like, I'd love to do this one, I'd love to do that painting.
Yes.
Cyril Ramaphosa, you know. Jokes. But yeah.
So I actually am going to be starting a series where I do short portraits of everybody that I like. So that will be on my YouTube channel, coming soon. But I don't have one person who I'm like, you know, I would love for Beyonce to hire me for something, you know. I think it's not far-fetched, because, you know, we have our South Africans that were in Black is King. So I would definitely, I think Beyonce is top tier.
Marufile, marufuna yena. No.
We must start step by step. Yeah.
That will take me to a question as to why did you decide? Because nobody would really think of Solange. No, I want to draw Solange. Everyone would want to draw Beyonce or Jay-Z, or even their children, Ivy, instead of
Solange. You know. I think I love Beyonce, but I think Solange's journey and her style is a lot more eclectic, and it's more understated, and I like how subtly bold it is. So she's in her own lane, and I don't think the two can be compared. And I think, as much as I love Beyonce, I find her interesting, but I don't think that I didn't find inspired to
She
do
doesn't have
that. She really does. But I definitely, she's phenomenal in her own lane, and Solange is phenomenal in her own lane as well. I think I can't be compared to Lady Scully or other people who do art, or females that do art, because everybody has
their
their own thing, and everybody
Yes.
can shine at the same time.
At
There's
the same
enough money in the world. There's enough space for all of us. There's abundance, definitely.
We're now
And
going
now-
to take a break.
Yes.
When we're coming back, we're not going to come a little bit personal. Let us find out. We see rings and other things. So please do stay with us as we are taking a very short break. We'll be with you just shortly.
Thank you. Did you get the video?
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you with the right here on Pan African Morning, broadcasting live in the Republic of South Africa, in our head office, of course, in Midrand. We are still with Mel here, who is an artist, talking to us about amazing work that she does. Of course, it is not just the standard art that we all know. It is something special. It is done with, it's a bending and the wood. So she uses, fire to create art, something quite amazing, as you can see it out there. Now, Mel, let us now go, in details. We understand you're such a very beautiful woman, I must tell you. Really gorgeous, naturally gorgeous.
Thank you.
And now, a lot of, right now, we are going through trauma because our back office is sitting on our case to say, guys, it's Shinerit, it's Shinerit, it's Shinerit. I'm like, oh, hi, Siegeni bo. So tell us, are you a married young woman, or you are single and available, and that's just a stop nonsense?
It's a stop nonsense. I'm single, but I don't think I'm available. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not available. I'm very, very single, and I think during this lockdown, I haven't even bothered to try to get on a site or to get talking to somebody or see somebody. No, I don't think I don't have any interest. The man who wants to come into my life must really be something. Stop nonsense.
So earlier
So
on,
why-
you told us that. Well, okay.
No. I wanted to, while she's still talking about that, as to you're saying that you put a ring as a
stop nonsense.
a stop nonsense.
And this is not even an expensive ring, but it just from afar, you wouldn't see.
It's a beautiful ring, I must say.
Thank you.
It
I do
shows
love
that you're an
rings.
artist.
I love rings. I love all rings. I have a lot more, but these are my two staples.
Yeah, is it part of your, art? We've seen a lot of artists. Mostly they want to keep in their own spaces. They spend their time in closed doors. They don't want to be, associated with people. And most of artists, they're actually introverts. Most of them. They spend time thinking and drawing and, they're in their own zone somewhere. Is your singleship, if there is such, part of that you really don't have time to associate with people because you're busy burning wood?
I think I'm an extroverted introvert. I think growing up, I was definitely more introverted when I was younger.
Yes.
I would come home from school, draw on the computer, listen to my Michael Jackson and Mariah Carey's, and and you know, all different types of music, I didn't really like socializing. I only socialized at school. But I think as I got older, I started being more. I started blooming, you know, and
started going tabuga.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I think I'm a very comfortable person, so I love wearing my bikinis, whether I have a fupa or whatever. I've never had a six-pack, but I've always been very comfortable with myself and my body, and with other people, women and men alike. So I don't necessarily, I just think men are just they're a waste of time. I think I really believe in, you know, having good relationships and things that nurture me. And men are not good nurturers to me.
Or maybe there's a woman. It's possible.
Maybe. But.
Okay. So now, Mel, tell me, like, I think earlier on when you started, you also spoke about your parents. What I want to understand is, in the career that you took, you know what I mean, painting career, did you have very supportive family or parents or mother, or it was one of those where, you know, as any other parent, you want to see your daughter or your child studying for something that is more what we call professional, being a lawyer, being a doctor, and things like that? How was that support for you as you were going into this career?
Okay, so I was raised by sort of a single mom. She remarried, divorced, and so on. But my mom has been my sole provider, and she was always very supportive, even though she didn't understand. Like, you could see that she was like, "Yo, Mara, my child." But she, not that she really wanted to, but she supported me regardless. I think last year she was very proud of me because I had, you know, a big exhibition at Everard Reed, which is an international gallery, and she was just like, "Yo, finally one, like, yo, finally, finally." But I think, you know, I think I'm very. My mom is very reserved, and she's very, you know, she's a wonderful Christian praying mother who's just amazing, but very to herself. She doesn't have a lot of friends. And so I'm the total opposite. I know a lot of people, and I am very loud sometimes at home, and I don't wear clothes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Mafikeng.
Oh, from the northwest.
From the northwest.
Mafikeng. Where in Mafikeng? Because I know Mafikeng very well.
Unit 12.
Oh, so the Unit D.
Yeah, it's a Unit D.
Okay.
But I used to live in Gulf View for some time as well.
Oh, okay.
But home, my grandmother is Goluhurutsi.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
I've got a family go Unit 9. That's what I'm asking.
My aunt used to live there, but
So you know, when you are in your space, there are some times where even you don't necessarily have to be an artist. I would like to believe that there's spaces where you're like, when I'm here, this is my space. This is where most of my ideas come through, come to me. Like maybe if you're a musician, there's a space where most lyrics that you know, when I'm in this space, this is where, you know, my music gets born from there. You know, so what is your most creative space that you, when you're there, you get better creativity in your head?
Definitely in the shower. In the shower.
That's me too, you
know.
In
the shower, in bed, just before I sleep, and when I'm sitting in the sun. I think for me, when I'm sitting in the sun, it's more of a meditative space, and I'm just getting life. I'm getting enriched. But definitely just before bed, when I'm feeling water on my body, in the bath or shower, usually that's where I get most of my ideas. But a lot of people have asked me, how do you come up with these ideas? How do you? I don't know. Sometimes it's just it comes when I'm doing something else. I'm cleaning, and so I get an idea that this is what you need to do. So it's not always in the shower only, or it just comes. I just need to be receptive of it.
So now, tell me, how do you make sure that your work gets out there, you know, for people to know about what you do? Because that's how you make business. Are you mostly on social media, or how do you market your business?
I definitely market through social media and through word of mouth. I found that a lot of people, I got a lot of clients through people who were my previous clients. So
Yes.
I get a random email or an SMS or you know, a
Yes.
call, say, I got your number from Muso who bought your what, and you know, that's, I think it's still the most powerful form of marketing, or word of mouth, definitely. And obviously doing interviews like this, I never turn them down. So I've been on quite a few shows, I've been on some radio interviews, newspapers, so I never, whenever somebody wants to interview me, I barely say no. I do make time for that, yeah.
You know, a lot of people, they like to nurture other people with their talents, to say, whatever that I'm doing, I want somebody else to be, you know, what are you doing in order for you to impact other people in inviting them to your space to get to understand? Because I'm sure that's a space that you love to do the most. And are you, you know, taking other young people to be in your space?
Yes, I really am. I think, though, however, it's not necessarily through art. I think I've become a sister to a lot of people.
Yes.
But mostly through my YouTube channel. People really like seeing me do my work and just go on about my life. So that is definitely the way. One of my goals for this year was to host, like, you know, art nights, you know, where you come with your friends and then I teach you how to do pyrography, or we paint a little bit, or we draw a little bit for a little fee. But that hasn't happened because of, you know, COVID. But I definitely want to do that in the future.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. I think
definitely.
it's something that you should follow, because you know, some people, they don't easily find, you know, support, you know, from families and stuff when you want to follow your dream.
Yes.
You want to, you know, so sometimes it's really going to be
Yes.
great. So yeah.
Yeah, I really believe in doing that, and I always share my resources. I never say, oh, no, this is for me only. You know, I don't understand people that want to be gatekeepers of, you know, whatever it is. I really think there's always enough for everybody. So on my YouTube channel, I share where I got my clothes. I share how much this is. I share where I get my wood. I share resources, and I think that's what's going to help people get better.
You are inspired mostly by women, which I've just actually noted when you say everything that you do. Mostly you do the painting of women and stuff. You draw women and stuff like that. You know the notion where people there's this belief that women don't support each other, women don't push each other forward and stuff like that. What is your experience when it comes to that?
I personally have been, I mean, women are very nurturing, like I said earlier.
Yes.
Where if they don't like you, at least you know, hey, this one, you know.
All right.
Ojela, say, what's happening? What did I do to you? You know, I've obviously really experienced, as I'm sure you also have, experienced women who are just nasty to you for no reason. Maybe because you're beautiful, or because you're nice, or you have money, or you don't have money, or whatever. So I've obviously experienced the negativity, but I think there's more good in women than the other.
The best,
So I have most people who have carried me out of dark times, people who have, you know, when you're walking down and a woman tells you you look beautiful, it feels so much more amazing than when a man tells you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, like
so
what are you after?
It definitely, yeah.
So now tell me, what's the most expensive art you have done, and what size was it?
The most expensive art I have done was 14,000 rand, and it was a portrait of me, and it was about 4 times the size. So yeah, 4 of these. Yeah. I really enjoyed doing that. I do already have a client for. He wants to do a very big piece of Optimus Prime, but I will definitely do it. So yeah, we haven't finalized those yet, but yeah, that is in the works.
I think I'm second to that client. So yeah, I also want that very big, you know, art of myself.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sure one needs to have that any given time.
It's a statement, you know. And when you walk in and you see this huge
Yeah.
portrait or
What's,
painting.
yeah, what is the most weirdest thing that people have ever asked you to draw?
You know, that awkward one, and you'd be like, oh, really? Must I really do that? And the client says, yeah, that one, I want that one.
I actually haven't gotten anything very strange. I think because I specialize in portraits, most people want to do portraits of other people. I haven't gotten anybody that did. Yeah, so I think the Optimus Prime is just a little bit out of the ordinary. So you want, you know.
Yeah.
So that was just a little bit. It's not the weirdest, but it was the most out of the ordinary. Yeah.
Well, what would you like to see happen in our arts industry, you know, in terms of transformation, and also maybe our government? What would be your call to the government in terms of intervention into art industry?
I definitely, you know, with all due respect to Nathi Teto, I just feel like, you know, he's just always congratulating us when you're already done something. I think there isn't enough, you know, being funded into
On
the
the
arts,
ground.
and we don't have enough national support, and you know the processes are strenuous, and by the time you really think that you don't even want to get this
exhausted already,
exactly, you're already exhausted, and you just think, you know what, I can do this on my own. And they, you know, I think in the beginning of lockdown, the Minister of Arts and Culture did this thing on Twitter. It was like lockdown gallery, wara, share your art, whatever. I did that, and then nothing came of it. You know, there were no other steps that were taken from that. He just created a hashtag that lasted 2 days, and that was it.
And full of thank yous.
Full of thank yous, and wow, this is great. And what
yeah.
does that do? It does absolutely nothing. So definitely needs to be.
So is there space or maybe a place where you as artists, where you guys can go to and apply for fundings and all? And if there is, what are the processes, you know, or is there any other follow-up, you know, from those organizations to say, okay, yes, you're declined, or yes, you're accepted? Do you know of any, you know, of those organizations?
Yes, definitely. So one of my favorite or main sources of information about arts is VANSA. It's VANSA, which is the Visual Arts Network of South Africa.
Yes.
And there you will always get opportunities no matter what you want to do. There are job openings that are related to the art world. There is, you know, studio to let, and, you know, grants and competitions that you can be a part of. So so there's always constantly something that is happening, and with those organizations that are part of VANSA, you always know that you've made it or you haven't made it. At least you're not just left out in the air. And then there's also BASA, who the Business of Arts South Africa, which are also working. They often work with VANSA as well, and Standard Bank, and they cultivate artists. And there's currently a scholarship that is in the works. So I definitely would encourage people to visit VANSA, to visit BASA's websites, and try to get clued up. There was a course, like Zoom chats with other industry leaders like Lebo Lion, trying to talk about how to market your business, how to, you know, get funding. And there were people from art galleries, from Guild, you know, that made presentations. So there are people that are actually doing the work.
Yes.
And you know, it's just very important for us to get into the loop and network with these people that are actually actively doing something.
Yes. Now, you know, our education system, we know that in our days, people are calling for decolonization of our education system. But now when it comes to arts, do you believe that, you know, our education system is inclusive enough to the development of talent, especially in the arts industry, in terms of developing the talent at the young age, or there is a room for improvement, or it's non-existent at all?
No, I definitely think they are trying, but there's definitely room for improvement.
Yes.
I was fortunate to go to the public schools that had art at school, and I think throughout primary you're required to do art.
Yes.
So obviously those who are good there. It's also the responsibility of the teachers to cultivate those talents and to
Yes.
encourage those people.
Yes.
I think the other problem or the other thing that needs to be rectified are the parents, because you know,
After
I was very
school, nothing
after I
happens.
was fortunate to have my mother who, you know, would support
Supports
me.
you, yes.
But other people were not so lucky. So
Yeah.
I think parents also need to get clued up on everything, especially now it's 2020. I mean, people
Yes.
can make money from anything. So it's changing the mindsets, changing the paradigms, and to learn to be better in whatever field.
That you're doing.
Definitely, yeah.
Where do we find you?
I am at Mel Madiba everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I've got 2 Instagrams where it's just my personal Instagram, and then I've got Mel Madiba Studio where it's strictly art. But I do try to interlink them and share a bit of myself in the studio. and
Yes, yes,
share
because
a bit
people would want to know
Yes,
you.
of
Yeah.
course, yes. So Mel Madiba Studio, Mel Madiba, and then Mel Madiba on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you
I'm
so
inspired.
much. Yes,
Yeah.
you know, thank you so much, Mel, for your time and, of course, this amazing art that you all introduced us to. We're not aware of, and wish you all the best, you know, going forward in life. And we want to see you, you know, taking up space as a woman.
Yes.
Go out there and kick the doors open and make things happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I will
Thank you.
definitely
And
do
you've got a
that.
beautiful smile, I must say.
She
We've been
is
sitting here, we've been
gorgeous.
interviewing
She
her, and
is-
she answers with smile, you know, with this
She is a
innocent.
gorgeous,
Just
drop dead
smile.
gorgeous, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank
now
you so
it's time
much,
for
Mel.
us to take a very short break. When we're coming back, we're going to have more news and updates for you right here on Pan African Morning at the top of the hour. Stay with us.